Mary,
Yeah.
what have you been watching on the big and small screens?
So I watched Reanimator 2, Bride of Reanimator, because I loved the first film. The highlight of this was a floating head that had bat wings coming out the neck. It was absolutely batshit, no pun intended.
Nice.
But obviously they are pulling together a bride out of all these different body parts and stuff like this. It was every bit as mental and camp and kitsch as the first one, and I absolutely adored it. And I also I found a documentary on Sky Arts called Hammer, Heroes, Legends and Monsters, and it's basically just kind of the history of Hammer horror, and it was really interesting, like in terms of how the studio sort of cobbled itself together, some dodgy business deals that went on, how it, birthed these really big stars and like iconic sort of cinema monsters, and then how it sort of faded into obscurity and was relying on sort of like cheap and nasty films in order to keep itself going and feel relevant. So it was a very interesting documentary, actually, with some good talking heads in it as well. And that was just through channel hopping until I found something that I was interested in. I also got a screener for Late Shift review coming soon to Moviescramble. What a film. It absolutely took my breath away. Like, it's just a neat 90 minutes and you follow a nurse around on her shift in a hospital. Oh my God, my heart was in my mouth several times. Like, it was just unbelievable. It feels stressful to watch, but like in a good way, if you know what I mean. Like, it's just, so looking for that review will be released at the end of this month because it's under embargo at the moment, but highly, highly recommend if you get a chance to see it in the cinemas. It was absolutely fantastic. I think it's been a bit of a festival circuit darling and actually quite rightly so. So it was really, really enjoyable. And in a complete change of tone, I watched that Trainwreck Mayor of Mayhem that you recommended. Every time I thought that had plumbed new depths, I was like, oh no, something else has happened. He's done something else. I genuinely, it was 45 minutes or whatever it was, well spent, because it was just chaos from start to finish. What a story.
I know.
So that was on Netflix, obviously. And then as I was scrolling Netflix, it said that Clue was leaving soon. So I rewatched that because I haven't seen that in years. And it was just as enjoyable as when I first saw it. Like, Tim Curry is absolutely phenomenal in that. Like, what a really, really good film. It's lively, it's good fun. It's obviously got all like the different endings and stuff to it. Like, I really enjoyed that. And then I had a wee screener for a Nordic watch list called Omerta 612, which is coming to Walter Presents. So it's just a 4-part series about a terrorist attack on the Finnish Prime Minister or President, and how I think it's like Serbian terrorists and how they sort of respond to that over the course of a few days. So quite violent, a little bit not plausible necessarily at times, but it is based on quite a best-selling novel. So yeah, that was just enjoyable. It had Jasper Pekinen in it, who's in Vikings. He plays Halfdan the Black, so it was quite a good cast. And then I also watched Blood Red Sky on Netflix, which it's about half an hour too long. It's about 2 hours, 10 minutes or so. Basically, it's about this woman who takes her son on a plane, and you think she's like dying of cancer, and the plane gets hijacked by, quite honestly, the most disorganised terrorists I've ever seen in my puff. And it turns out she's not got cancer, she's actually a vampire. And so she's going to protect her son and the other people on the plane and defend everyone from the terrorists. It's every bit as mental as it sounds. Like, it had some good set pieces in it, but there's some quite ropey CGI. And as I say, like, I don't really understand what the point of the terrorists are. Probably wouldn't recommend it, but if you fancy killing a couple of hours, then it's there. And I also read The Haunting of Hill House by Shirley Jackson, because I've never read that before, and was a really good read. I like Shirley Jackson's writing, so I thought I'll get myself stuck into this, and that was excellent. And I also read A Day in the Life of Abed Salama by Nathan Thrall, which is about a Palestinian man whose son dies in a bus crash, but it's about all the sort of like politics and red tape and obviously the partitions that are going on in order for him to actually find his son, try and obviously get to a hospital and try and save his son. So that was a really good read. And I also read Real Americans by Rachel Kong, which is like a 3-generation story of like grandmother, mother and son, about a grandmother who escapes Mao's revolution in China, comes to the States and gets involved in some dodgy science and how that sort of affects the future generations. So yeah, that's everything I've been watching and reading this week.
Nice. Good list, yeah. Considering the fact that it's been very decent weather and everything, yes. You've gone through an admirable amount of stuff, which is always nice. In terms of what I've been watching, it's been reasonably light because it's been nice nights and everything, and I've not been
Yeah.
doing an awful lot. But I did watch Singing in the Rain, which was on Sky Cinema last week.
Love it.
And I missed about the first sort of 30, 40 minutes of it. And of course, when it was on, I thought, I'm just watching the rest of this. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
It's excellent. It's really good. It's one of these films you can just watch time and time again and never really get tired of it. And the whole Broadway melody, the big sort of finale that he does, you know, because I really like the way that they do that. They say, yeah, well, I'm going to do it like this. And then it just sort of fades into it, you know, or blends in, I should say. And it's really, really good. It's funny. I just think the whole Lena Lamont performance is just spectacular.
She is phenomenal.
You believe that she is like that in real life. She's that good. You just think she must just be like that all the time.
Yeah, you must be hard work. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's a fantastic performance right there. And after that, there was a film. I just kept watching it was like Sky Cinema Hits or something, and there was a film called Shally Girl, which I'd never seen before. It's like Tuppence Middleton or one of these sort of people, and it's about a young girl who was an up and coming skateboarding star, and her mum dies in a car crash, and she just puts all that aside. So she's just trying to get a normal job and stuff like that. She's working for this agency, and they say, "Oh, we need somebody to go and work in a chalet in the Swiss Alps for a season." So she has to go. She goes out there and lives, and of course, it's snowboarding and everything. And she starts to get involved with other people doing that, and then get involved in competitions. It's quite one of these sort of feel-good films, but it was actually fairly decent. I was sitting there quite happily watching it. It's not going to challenge you really in any way. The love story element of it is, you know, you get together with what is this American guy, but he's got a British accent in it. It was was it Pretty Little Liars? I think
I've never seen that actually. That's the Nicole Kidman.
No, not that one. It's the one.
Oh no, what's that called? That's Big Little Liars.
Yes,
that's called, isn't it?
Pretty Little Liars was one. It was about gossip and all this sort of stuff. It's kind of was it Gossip Girl maybe as well? I got them mixed up because my daughter was watching them all, and it's one of these things that he plays this sort of macho sort of alpha male type in this TV program, and I just recognised him from that because it must have been running at the same time. But yeah, it was fairly decent. You know, just something different to watch, I suppose. I watched this strange film though. It was on Talking Pictures TV called Treasure of the Yankee Zephyr, which was about.
What kind of title is
I know. It immediately drew me to the film. It was like from 1980 or something, and it's a sort of adventure film based on it. The Yankee Zephyr was a plane that was carrying gold from New Zealand, I think it was, during the war. It was US gold. It wasn't Nazi gold, you know. So obviously I know you're switching off.
Oh, well, that's me out,
yeah. You know? And it disappeared. And then it suddenly, these people found it years later, but the authorities wanted it back and all that. And it's one of these sort of stupid adventure films, which was a reason why most people
well known in it. Or
there was, if you give me a second, I can't remember exactly who was it. Oh, George Pepper is in it. He's like the big bad in it, which was really strange. And he's dressed up like wearing suits and like big sort of overcoats and hats and stuff. And you're thinking, you look completely out of place here. It's really bizarre. Treasure of the Yankee Zephyr. Yeah, there we go. The lead female was Leslie Ann Warren. I don't know if you remember her.
I do know. Yeah.
Donald Pleasance was in it as well, but he had this mad, crazy accent. It's not like, you know how you think of Donald Pleasance as like from Halloween films and like Escape from New York, this sort of quite sinister guy. Here he was just a complete mad guy. He was jumping about all the time and jumping out of helicopters and things, all this sort of stuff. So the film itself was just okay. I mean, like a 5.5 out of 10 on IMDb. So you can take from that what you will. But so that was all right. And then I watched The Predator, which was not the Prey one, the one before that, which was like a group of US Marines were trying to defeat it, whereas there was all sorts of stuff going on as well. And there was like super predators in it as well. It was all to do with genetic engineering and shit like that. Again, pretty decent action film. It was all right. I've seen it.
Was that
I
on
think
Film 4? I
it
think they were doing a
was,
few,
yes. Yeah,
different
so
action
it was
series,
just,
aren't they? Yeah.
yeah, it was just the other night there. And then I watched an old Sherlock Holmes film, which, I've forgotten the name of it. It's terrible because I should have written it down. Terror by Night, that's what it was.
Oh,
It's
nice.
Sherlock Holmes is escorting the Star of Rhodesia from London to Edinburgh on the train, and somebody gets killed in the Star of Rhodesia. The big diamond goes missing, and he has to sort out. It's one of these old Basil Rathbone ones, and they're perfect because they're like 65 minutes long, so you can just sit and watch it. It's like watching like an episode of Poirot or something. It's the same sort of thing.
Yeah.
But there was a female in that, and I had no idea where she was supposed to be from. One, she was a terrible actor. She was so wooden right from the start. But the accent she decided to adopt to be somebody who may have been slightly upper class was just, I was like, it's not from England. It doesn't sound European, doesn't sound American. It's like, no idea. It's like from some made up country in Central Europe that you would, there'd be a king and queen of Mortavia or something.
I was going to say something ending in Ovia, because that's usually what it is when you have a fake country.
Exactly, yeah. But that was pretty good. I like all these films, the Basil Rathbone ones. They're pretty good
like
value.
Watching that, or a Poirot, or a Columbo, like an extended Columbo and stuff like that. I think they're always good ways to pass the time.
Nice. TV-wise, finished watching The Gold, season 2 of The Gold. That just finished a couple of weeks ago, and it's only 6 episodes, and it's all about the Brinksmat job. And the second series of it was more to do with the fact that half of the gold disappeared and what was happening with that. And I think they kind of took a few liberties with the story and sort of made bits up. And some characters were amalgams of various people that was involved in it. But it was still pretty decent. It was a pretty good drama, and it didn't outstay its welcome. And it was like sort of more international than the first season, which was all just kind of based in like Essex and London. So, and it obviously went into the whole thing about the Scotland Yard and the Met being like totally corrupt, which, they do a better job of hiding it these days more than anything else, don't they? Let's face it.
Yeah.
I've started watching the 3rd season of The White Lotus as well. I'm just 2 episodes into that, which is I'm really enjoying it. It's better than the 2nd season, but it's not quite up there with the 1st season. But it's early days yet, because I say I've only 2 episodes in. There's another 4, I think, to go. But it's a cracking cast of characters in it this time.
So good. I cannot wait to hear your thoughts when you like finish it, because I still feel like I don't really have closure on it. So I want more. But it's like Jason Isaacs, Walton Goggins, like Leslie Bibb, and that whole sort of friendship group as well. Because what I loved about that is like it really captured the way like women hate each other. Like within friendship groups, like saying one thing to somebody's face, and the minute they go to bed, it's like,
yeah. When two out of the 3 are together, they're talking about. They're only talking about the other one. Yes, I know. It's really, really well done. It's just cracking. It's just brilliant. Patrick Schwarzenegger, who plays Saxon in it, he's this horrible guy who's just. He always just talks about sex and everything like that, and it's just he's just this odious, horrible guy in it. But it's a really good performance, obviously, because you hate him almost immediately before he actually says a word. You just know what sort of person he is. So yeah, really enjoyed that.
And are you doing all the vocal fries of the I've forgotten her character's name, and she's like, Pepper, no, tsunami. Have you seen all those videos?
Oh man, it's such a mannered. Yeah, it's such a mannered performance as well. It's really, really good. She's been playing like baddies and all sorts over the last couple of years. She was like
just having a good time.
Definitely. She was the baddie in the remake of Lost in Space, which was on Netflix, which before was a male character. The bad guy, I can't remember the name, is a doctor. And she was in that part, and she was excellent in it. Just horrible person, but totally over the top acting and everything. Just, proper baddie, proper screen baddie. What else have I been watching? I finally finished the Man in the High Castle I just finished that this afternoon.
right,
I'd been watching bits and pieces of it, and it's like 4 seasons. And it was actually halfway through the last episode of the last season. I'm thinking, how are they going to bring this all together,
Oh,
for
so they're
like a
just 4 seasons.
conclusion?
That's it.
That's
And
it.
it's
Yep.
right.
Yep.
Okay.
From the looks of it, I think they were kind of expecting to get recommissioned. I've never really looked into it because there is an ending point there, but there's characters that have kind of been left dangling. You don't know what's going to happen to them and what's actually going to happen after that. So it's not really a big final conclusion of anything, but it is what it is. I suppose
I
that's
feel
the
like
way of
that
it.
happens so often though, because like I wanted to start watching Westworld, and then it's like, well, it get cancelled after 3 seasons, and I apparently was like on a cliffhanger. So it's like, do you start it? Do you invest in it? Like, I think it can be really difficult if the writers think the story's going somewhere, but then Prime on this occasion have decided, no, you need to wrap it up within, the next X amount of episodes. I think that must be a hard task for a writer's room.
Well, look at the Wheel of Time. That's based on a whole series of books, and that's been canned after 3 seasons.
Yeah.
They've been told, yep, no more, done. That's you're gone.
I assume that's a numbers game.
Oh, everything is a numbers game, yes. It always is.
Yeah.
And especially with these sort of projects, these high fantasy projects, they cost an awful lot of money. And they were doing that, and they were doing the Lord of the Rings one at the same time. So, and
I don't think that got the numbers they thought it would either.
No, but they're having to persevere with that because they spent something like, what was it, 750 million on the rights to it or something like that. So they're kind of like, yeah, we're basically going to trample this to death. This program, they're going to try and get their money's worth out of it. But having said that, they're spending multi-million pounds on an episode of the program when they're making it as well. So yeah, I don't understand why that's still going, because it's not particularly good. Let's face it. I've watched it, and you're kind of like, give me something, give me a Brian, or give me a Steve in there, it's all Galadriel and all this sort of, and I know that's the whole lore of it and everything, part of the enjoyment, but, would it kill them to throw in a normal name now and again?
Dave.
Because where's Dave? He's over there battling an orc, because they all kind of blend into one in terms of, and if you're not fully engaged with it, as a lot of Lord of the Rings fans are, because they obviously know, they've read the appendix to...
Yes. And they're probably sitting with it whilst watching the programme, comparing
Exactly,
notes.
Yeah. So they are aware of a lot of the characters in the lore, and I know some of them have been made up and everything as well, but yeah, it can get a bit much at times. That's why I think when, at one point, I did a quick edit of a friend's book that he was writing, and 3 of his characters had their first names and it began with J, and it says you need to change 2 of those names because people will get confused between the 2. It was like, it was like John and Jason, and it was like Jack or Jim or something, but it says you need to change those because people will get confused.
And if you're skimming something, then it's just, you just see the letter J and you just think, oh, why would that character do? Then you go back and you're like, actually, no, it's someone different.
Yeah. Last thing I've been watching is the Tour de France, which started last weekend. I've watched it for years and years. Just the highlights program. It's on ITV4. They do a program at 7:00 every night, and it's the highlights of the day's racing. There's a bit of analysis. There's a bit of history and interviews and stuff like that. But this is the last year it's been shown in ITV. They've been showing it for about 30 years. On either Channel 4. Yeah, either Channel 4 or ITV have shown highlights of Tour de France, and it's stopping this year because it has been bought up by TNT Sports. It was on Eurosport. They showed like full races and everything in highlights programs, and ITV they'd bought the rights to show this, highlight reminder program, if you like. But now, from next year, it's all going to be behind a paywall because TNT Sports bought Eurosport. It used to be that cycling fans would get a subscription to Eurosport, and I think it was $6.99 a month, and for that they got access to. It's the same idea as like F1. They got access to all the major races, so it's the Giro d'Italia, it was all the various tours of all the various places, the World Championships, all this kind of thing. Everything cycling was on there. Got it for £7 a month. Brilliant. TNT bought it, bundled it in with everything else, and you have to spend £30 a month now to get the cycling. But then you've got like, football and rugby and golf, which a lot of these
But if you
people
don't care about these sports,
exactly, yeah, you can't take a minor subscription and just sort of pick and choose what you want. So it's not going to be a good thing for the sport. And the fact that in ITV, like I say, this is the last year they're doing it as well, which is a real shame because it's a really good, nice wee compact programme, just an hour long, and you can just the racing part of it's only about 30 minutes in total, and it shows you all the highlights and gives you a good analysis of it. It's like Chris Boardman's one of the people who does the analysis for it now. So they go through all that kind of thing and why I think it's the same. It's almost the same as the likes of motorcycle racing and F1. The tactics involved, it's team tactics that they have because they all have sprinters, but they all have like cyclists who are part of the general classification. You're going for the yellow jersey, but there's all sorts of shenanigans going on. The same idea, like in the F1 movie where Brad Pitt's car was holding up so many other cars. Well, teams do that. If there's a breakaway, then one of their teammates will sit to the front of the pursuing bunch and try and slow them down. That kind of thing, that's it's exactly the same sort of tactics. That. But you get that coming through the sort of the team tactics and who are the strong ones and all that, and like in all some stages are like very flat, so it's just like sprint finishes, so it's all the sprinters, so it's all the lead out teams for the sprinters. They're bringing their guys to the front of us, and it's quite dangerous as well because they're going like 65 kilometres on a bike, and when there's an accident,
I was going to say the crashes are bad.
Yeah, it's all collarbones. They break the collarbone because they come off and they basically smack into the ground on their shoulders and all sorts, because it happens so fast they've got no time to react. There was one a couple of days ago where somebody just had a bit of a wobble and fell over, and he took about 3 or 4 around him, but then there was all the ones behind him and they were all trying to brake and they were braking and skidding to the side and then just going over the people who were actually on the ground. And no, it's really bad, And you see these guys and they get up and they continue to cycle, a lot of them, if there's nothing really seriously wrong, but they've just got all these burns down their arm from like hitting scraping a lot. It can be pretty nasty because they've got no protection.
They're just in like little thin like t-shirts and shorts.
They're trying to keep as light as possible, so it's very much skin tight clothing that they wear. So when they go off, it's usually fairly serious, and there's been a few sort of really serious accidents in it over the years, but it's all good fun. And now it's going into the mountains next week, which is quite good. The mountain stages are always the best one because they're quite grueling and there's a lot of tactics involved and all this sort of stuff. So it's really good.
I didn't realise, I thought it was individual cyclists. I didn't realise there was like teams and, as you say, like strategy, sort of a wee bit of not cheating, but sort of stretching the rules in terms of I just thought it was all individual cyclists all doing their own thing.
No, there's 8 members of a team, so they all have various skills and duties in order to perform as part of the race. And obviously that may change as like certain members of the team have to drop out through injury or illness or whatever. So, but it's fascinating stuff. It's the same level of intensity, I think, as the sort of F1, and you can get into it as much as well because you can really dig into everything that's going on, like we talked about, and as you've said a couple of times, it's not just about the first car on the grid, it's everything. It's the whole weekend leading up to that race, how they performed, and what you don't call it, what do you call you've got a short form. Quali, that's what it was,
Because I'm cool, I see things like that.
I didn't highlight that when we were talking about it. I thought, that's kind of in-depth that you're calling it qualies rather than with the qualification. Yes.
Although the next race is going to be chaos because obviously Christian Horner's been fired. There's rumours that Max Verstappen's going to Mercedes. George Russell doesn't have a secure seat. To be honest with you, the most exciting thing about this next race is going to be all of the press surrounding it as opposed to the actual race itself. So
the Red Bull situation.
Yeah.
He obviously got sacked, but didn't get sacked because he's still employed by them. What was the
Yeah.
background to actually that
So
happening?
there's been a lot of issues. So basically, Jos Verstappen, who's Max's dad, has said that he's not been happy with the way the team's been running for a long time. And actually, Jos is really close with Helmut Marko, who sort of like owns part of Red Bull. So his influence is actually quite large. And obviously, with Max being their number one driver, their priority has been to keep him happy. But as a result of that, they've gone through like a merry-go-round of number two drivers. Literally nobody will stay in that seat because they've been told it's an impossible car to drive. So that has meant a huge drop in points. And obviously, the more new drivers you bring in, it's like they're having to learn and start from scratch. So there's not really been like double podiums, etc. So there's been a distinct drop in performance in the team, but also Max has said over the past few weekends, the car's a shitbox. So he's not happy with it. And partly that's because a lot of behind the scenes personnel have left as well. The big one being Adrian Newey, who designed the monster Red Bull, has gone to Aston Martin to prep for 2026 when all these new rules come into place about what your car can look like and how much you can weigh and all that sort of thing. But on top of all that, Christian Horner had texts leaked or WhatsApp messages leaked where it looked like he was allegedly sexually harassing a female member of staff whilst he was obviously out at various circuits. So cue the Little Britain scene where him and Jerry Horner, appeared hand in hand and very much in love and all the rest of it. But that hasn't gone away. That hasn't been thrown out. And a lot of the other team principals and Jos Verstappen were really quick to say how disgusting the behaviour was and how, we're trying to encourage women into Formula One. So it has to be a safe space. So there's that kind of cast a shadow over him as well. So I think it's been an amalgamation of a lot of things that has sort of forced him out the door. But I mean, obviously, of course, at Silverstone the other weekend, he was like, I'm going nowhere, I'm secure. 2 days later, Christian Horner's been fired by Red Bull. So I don't know how long these talks have been in the offing, whether he's agreed to go or whether it's just been a harsh, but it's going to be a media circus at this next race because obviously the rumour mill is flying. People are already like, because obviously Drive to Survive is quite formulaic in the way it delivers like big shocks because you've seen all the season already, and people are already like writing play-by-plays of how Drive to Survive is going to like roll this out next season. So it will make for good TV, of course, but I think now the big thing is, will Max Verstappen stay at Red Bull, and if he doesn't, is that the team finished basically?
Yeah. I mean, there's plenty of drivers, but like you say, they have to come in and they can't just come in and not
you have
like
to learn the car.
Not like Sonny. They can't just come in like Sonny and just...
No, you can't just come in your double denim and get in the car and shave 9/10 of a second off of a record.
Oh, interesting. Well, I suppose there's a gig at MasterChef going if he's stuck for a job, And
I can't believe that. Like, I read today it was something like 43 of the complaints have been upheld, and he put a post out on Instagram basically saying, I'm autistic, and it used to be that these differences made me like a cheeky chappy and a lovable presenter. And I was like, I'm sorry. On what planet is that A, an apology, or B, an excuse? There are thousands of millions of people that know you don't go around whipping your bits out in front of very, very young trainees and producers and all the rest of it. Like, it's just a mess. And of course, the BBC have fucked up the handling of it, to say the least, because apparently they've known about these complaints for 20 years. So it's very poor show for them, really.
Oh, yeah, them and the production company. Is it Banjai or whatever it's called? Because they actually make the programme. But he's associated with the BBC in other roles as well, because he's done other jobs for them, not just the MasterChef one. So yeah, they're equally culpable. You'd think they would like actually learn at some point, and when these allegations come up, they investigate. If they hear about them and it's not been publicised, they investigate. They should investigate them right away and then publicise it and say, we've had these complaints, they've been raised, we have treated them seriously, but we've done it outside of the glare of newspaper and television publicity in order to get a fair background and everything to it. But every single time they wait until it's a national. It's the front page of newspapers before they actually do anything about it, and you're like, come on, for goodness sake. They must have files on all these people that they'll be sitting on ones just waiting for them to like explode, and you think they would get ahead of it at some point, but they just obviously they've got no appetite for it.
It's really shocking though, and I think you can understand when people get annoyed about like paying the license fee and stuff like that, because essentially you're funding an institution that isn't willing to, as you said, like take these claims seriously. And either, they could conduct an investigation at the end of it. They could say, do you know what, we carried this out and we found that actually, X had been doing Y and therefore they are fired, or no, we're not convinced that anything bad has happened, so X will continue to work for the BBC. And I would have a lot more respect for an institution that was willing to do that than, as you say, wait till it gets to the stage where, I think there's been something like 60 odd complaints registered against him, which means there's probably a lot more that haven't ever made it to a formal HR proceeding. Do you know what I mean? It's so disappointing that, as I say, you're paying money for an institution that clearly isn't taking these things seriously.
Yep, definitely. It's pretty horrible. And you just think, get it sorted. Try not to have a scandal every 6 months, because that's pretty much the rate of it at the moment. It's just when one thing goes away, then another one pops up. And it lasts. I mean, this has been going on for, well, I know obviously the abusive behaviour has been on for years, but the whole scandal has been going on since probably September, October time when it really hit. And the problem that they have at the moment is, or the BBC have, is obviously the reputational damage and the fact that they've got a whole series of MasterChef filmed and ready to go with him in it. And they're saying, well, what do we do about that? And people are saying, well, media people are saying, well, you've got two choices. Either you scrap it or you just stick it on the iPlayer, and if people want to watch it, they can seek out. But then again, you're still, it's almost like you're condoning that behaviour.
Yeah.
But it's all about how big a hit are they going to have to take on this, whether they actually, go ahead with it. How do they come back from it? How does a production company come back from it? Because MasterChef is massive. It's such a big
it's a worldwide thing. It's not just... the format has obviously been sold all over the world, so it obviously is a big like money spinner for them. But I think it's just disappointing from the perspective of, you're talking, and this is going to sound disrespectful, and I don't mean it this way, but you're talking about people at the very bottom rung of the career ladder, television-wise, people who are, in vulnerable positions, taking shifts, working long hours, desperate for a break on a big show, and what they get in return is sexual harassment. Like it's such a power imbalance. It's awful.
Oh, definitely. At some point, somebody's going to have to say, like, let's just get everything out there about everybody and move on.
Oh my God, can you imagine it like the Purge, but with like details of all the bad stuff that people have done?
At some point, they're going to have to do that, because they can't sustain it with it happening year on year. It's just happening all the time now. So, I'm glad I don't work for them, put it that way. In the PR department or any other department.
And I was going to say, and you're also not a creep, so even if you did work for them,
Yeah, give me a chance, Hashtag life goals. So how was your day yesterday?
Oh, it was great. Walk? I mean, don't get me wrong, it was hot. It was really, really hot. And it was funny because in my head, I had what you said about the transmit uniform, and it was the most accurate description I think I've ever heard. It was so funny. We did have a group of girls come up to us and ask if we could tell they were smuggling alcohol in their underwear. I was like, no, you girls look good, on you go. It was a great walk though. We started off at Goma and we were through like the Tron, learning different facts about like the Tron Theatre and that huge big sort of clock at the edge of High Street where apparently you used to nail people to the brickwork if they had lied about like goods they were bringing into the country or the city rather. We went all the way up through like the Barras, the Barrowlands. We did the whole like Bible John thing as well. We were at the High
Wow.
Court. We talked about like 80s gangsters, and hilariously, as she was giving us the chat on Glasgow gangsters, we did actually see people getting arrested before going into transmit. So I had a nice bit of scenery too, but no, it was really good. And then we went for a wee meal and a couple of drinks afterwards, and it was a lovely day, but it was hot. And for Glasgow to be reaching those temperatures, and obviously because you're constantly moving throughout the 3 hours of the tour, so by the end of it, yeah, it was ready for a sit down.
And you're just normal coloured as well, so well done with the coverage.
Oh, honestly, I brought my suntan lotion with me because I'm a responsible adult, and I also filled, it's like a temperature-controlled water bottle, but I just filled it with ice.
Mm-hmm.
So I could like sip on that during the day, and it made complete sense. Although she did give us a shot of whiskey at one point during the tour as well. I was like, well, why not?
Whatever works, whatever gets you through the day, I suppose, really.
Exactly. There was 4 Americans on the tour as well, and do that we hear like, what do you actually think of this place? I can't imagine going to Glasgow on my holidays, but there you go.
Yes, yeah, it was a kind of a nice wee advert for the place, wasn't it? It was so sunny and nice over the weekend. I don't know how many arrests there were at Transmit. I'm sure there was the usual number of arrests and things, but nothing too major.
Massive. I think it was like around about between 10 and 15 every day, which I think is all right.
That's not too bad, yeah.
So, but yeah, it was funny, obviously, seeing everyone walking towards it. And the tour guide at one point said to the Americans, she was like, just to let you know, even if it was like, 6 inches of snow on the ground, everybody would still be dressed the way that they are going in. So,
have you been reading any reviews of Superman?
Yes, because I feel like I probably don't know that much about Superman lore, despite the fact that I regularly thirst over Henry Cavill. I've actually never seen any of his outings as Superman. It's never been a franchise that I've got that has sort of drawn me in. I've seen the original Christopher Reeve film, and obviously I watched that Christopher Reeve documentary over Christmas and broke my wee heart crying. But I was just reading reviews to see how people thought it fitted into bigger picture stuff, I guess, because I'm like, for me, we'll obviously talk about this, like it really worked and I really enjoyed the levity, but I didn't know how that would go down with people who maybe preferred, because Cavill's obviously looks quite dark and quite moody and that sort of thing. So I just wondered how people sort of responded to that. So I have read some bits and bobs, but just to sort of, as I say, give myself a little bit of context, I guess.
No matter how, well, unless you're like a total geek fan of Superman, then there are things in it that you're not going to get at the first go, which is fine. So,
oh my God, Primal Fear. What a bloody film.
I know. It is really good. I actually want to go and watch it again.
I know, me too, now that you've said that. You know, it's funny because when you were saying Citizen Kane, I was like, I could probably watch that at some point this weekend. Now you said Primal Fear, I'm like, I could probably go and watch that again as well.
I think Citizen Kane might be on iPlayer because it was on there for ages.
I think I've got a DVD copy because I remember my gran got me that and The Third Man. So I have the 2 of them in the house because she was a big Joseph Cotton fan. So got me them. But it probably is on iPlayer. It feels like something that iPlayer would have.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think so.